Yeah. All right. I'm following your lead. We're going live. All right. Clock is ticking.
Greetings, world. Welcome
Greetings.
to another live mental Rolodeck. Today's topic is the greatness of a man. Spirituality is greater than the physical.
Ah, Shay.
My beautiful co-host, Pache Gibson.
Ah, Queen.
Greetings, my Facebook family, my YouTube family, all my kings and queens out there, greetings.
One of my senseis.
Yeah. Baba Yashaba. Yeah. All right, Yeremia. Just sitting here on the base. So I want to say a lot to each and every one of our Facebook friends, the mental roller deck family. Yeah. Yeah. Prepare to board the ship, the spaceship called the mental roller deck. We're going to soar to places where no man have gone before.
Final
Final
frontier.
frontier. You know,
Yeah.
and that's a good one right there. You know, with the topic, what is the final frontier?
Mm,
Know
that's a
Hmm.
thyself.
Yes. So today we were actually having a chop. We call them chop ups,
Yeah,
and
right.
within these chop ups, Baba hit me on the jack, and we converse for a minute.
Mm.
And today we were talking. It's just so funny that the actual title was the greatness of a man, and then he added to it the spirituality is greater than the physical. And us as men, we have a tendency to look more outside of ourselves, and we chase what's on the outside versus what's on the end.
I say
But the greatness comes from the inside.
the enter.
So
Yes,
we
yes.
need to center ourselves and aim more to flourish what's within, because everything within create everything
It
outside of you.
manifests without.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, in actuality, the first question I have for you, King, what is the greatness of you?
The greatest for me is my mind. Being able to think. See, a lot of folks spend billions of dollars trying to build up their physique and the exterior. I work on building up the interior because that what determines my character, my ability, and how I function in the world. You know, you find many guys go to the gym and work on, and they got fine body, but they got a Rolls Royce body and a Pujo mind.
no conversation, no intellect.
I'm talking about there's no intellect. You see this dude look like Mr. One of the great wars of one of those great gods, and you start talking to him, he haven't got a clue about spiritual about himself. He's so busy worrying about his physique. But what about your mind? You know, and I said, no matter how much you do to your body, remember that spirituality, that body will break down. And it's known to break down, the physical will break down. But how strong is your mind? Your spirituality, your growth, your what you really project on your outer. You know, they always say that your face is a looking glass of your heart. So what is your face telling me when I see you? You know, society would try to characterize us by labels. We live in a society that's called a caste system. You know, great, medium, poor, average. And what in the world is average, and what are you equating it to? So tonight we ask the question, all our sisters and brothers. You said you're looking for the greatness of a man, or how strong is he spiritually? And I run across a lot of morons, ain't got a clue. They buy all the protein shakes. They go into all the fitness, and they come out and they buff, and their brain is about the size of a pea.
Right.
You know, can't carry an intellectual conversation 30 seconds, and that's
We
dangerous.
say they thought it's kitty food.
Ah, hey Queen Shanae,
Hey, Queen.
hey Queen, yeah.
Greetings.
So, so and I don't want to just take it over, but I asked one time, and this comes along with conversation. She said, "Well, I want a good man." I asked them, "Give me the definition of a good man." You know, and you'd be surprised what they say. I said, "No, you want a slave. You don't want a good man." See,
See, and the thing about that as well is society have the male painted in a light where his only strength supposedly is provide and protect. And I think on the last live I indicated that a man is so much more, but if that man is not within his right circumference, right?
right?
If his mind doesn't flow the right way, he cannot be great. He's going to be rigid. So if you're flowing, you're much more than a provider. You're much more than a protector. You're also an architect. You're also
Mhm.
a lover. You're also a brother. You're also an uncle. You're also a father. And I think a lot of today's, I'm not saying all queens, but you see the ones that take their self for granted and take you for granted because when they see you, all they see is a bag, translation, a, a, a way out, money, or whatever. Like that's all you can give them, and so on and so forth. That doesn't make you great. It makes you a follower because one of the favorite things, and I feel like that we do as so-called black black men, our aim is to
Well,
keep up.
for sake of conversation, we say black. We know the black thing what it goes to. So, and that's
Yeah,
just habit. But I understand among indigenous men we have this problem. But you know what have happened, King and Queen? We've allowed society program us like Rick said. We've been programmed to present a certain thing, projected what a man. What is a man? And for society, we ought to do this, that, and the other. You know, back in the day when we was children, they said, it said, what is it? A young girl was sugar and spice and everything nice, and the boy was nails, nails, and purple dog tails and all these kind. So we had a little
that
nursery rhyme,
that
you
sound like the
know.
pop that sound like the Powerpuff Girls.
Sugar and spice and everything nice.
Yeah, everything nice.
Nails, nails, and puppy dog tails. I never could figure that out. What nails and puppy dog
Nails
tails?
and balls. Yeah, I remember that.
Going like what? You know. And then society try to tell you what a man is, but unless you know within your spiritual self what you are, what you want to be, the only society put a label on you. We wear too many jackets given us by society, and we try to live up to these so-called images, right?
Hmm.
A lot of times we fail because we're not built that way.
And that's not our
That's not a
purpose.
one size fit all.
And that's not our purpose.
No. And
So
you said the key word. What is your purpose?
so so peep this, right? Like I would have conversations with queens, right?
Yeah.
And I aim to like to trigger the mind to have them elevate because I have these weird concepts in my mind, man. Like, and people feel like, yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist. That means, yeah, I believe in the truth. So I'd be like, do y'all ever pay attention to how perfect we are? They'd be like, no, we're not perfect. I'm like, says who? Right? It's like, no, we're not perfect. Says who? That's what I was told. But I'm
And
like,
they give you a
no,
Bible quote.
yeah. And then I'm like, no, look at this. There's times when you even forget that you're breathing. You don't you don't control that 100%. Your organs function on a daily basis. You don't
Right.
control that. If you get a slit or a cut, your body heals, it regenerates itself. Yeah, you might have a scar, but that's perfection.
All right.
So how are you not perfect? If I even come out and say I'm a god, they're like, no, you're not. Like, why am I not? Your own books say I was made from his own image.
Yeah, but see, when they talk that book, they don't follow the book. But
It's weird.
how do you line up with nature? Nature tell you if you're perfect or not. Look at nature's definition of perfection. You ever looked at that? Each plant produces its fruit, right? Is that not perfection?
Absolutely.
When a
But we
woman
don't look
gives
at
birth,
the
that's perfection.
huh?
When a woman gives birth, queen gives birth, that's perfection.
Yeah, because she's producing life. She's a creator. She's bringing forth life. Not only she's doing that.
Okay.
Well,
Since we're talking about the greatness of the man, right? I really need to touch this because
yeah,
I
okay. Let's
we
deal with
get we
let's try to
get
stay focused.
no, we can still talk about we get
I'm
stuff
following.
misconstrued, and more time I have this conversation, since you touch base on that, you said she's the creator of life, right?
Right.
I I object to an extent. I feel like, because you need the male and the female together, right? The male has the seed, right? He plants the seed and the woman bears the fruit, right?
That bears
So,
investigating, though.
huh?
That bears investigating. That's
That's
one of the little warriors.
so you said it's word investigating,
Oh, by all means.
but you have to ejaculate in order to have your sperms travel which way they travel, and one survives and nourishes her egg, right?
Maybe. It all depends. Now I'm out here now. You want your attention. Something you want. They want his attention. And say you know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know what?
yeah.
See, because we're talking about programming, what society say is, but if we look at this thing from another perspective, there's no attack. It's just required research, because even science and other things will tell you that there are certain species that does not need a male factor to fertilize its egg. It's able to reproduce of itself. It's called parthenogenesis, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
then,
I'm I'm familiar with that, but
okay,
the woman is not one of those species.
well, you have to look into a little bit more, because we looked into that, because there were a group of women at one time who was very athletic. They was able to, like among the Amazon women, they said they had the capability of that. It was known for that, be able to produce it themselves. You know, we know the shark can do it, frogs can do it, the other thing, which is reptilian, and we have some reptilian in us. But to say, I don't know what you say in society. Well, the man carries the seed. Let's examine it. What is the seed? Is the spermatozoa the seed, or is it that cover that covers the seed so it can germinate?
But and Baba, absolutely right. And Jermaine, when I said that, I was giving an example of perfection. When a woman gives birth, that wasn't this kind of male.
Hmm?
I was saying it because it's perfection. We talk about the perfect. Talk about all
Your your
perfection.
phone is choppy. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't think that conversation I had, I don't think that one was with you. I don't know if we spoke about that, but that one I'm specifically speaking about, it wasn't you. It wasn't your. It was somebody else.
what I
Can you
I want you to go
hear me?
elaborate a little more on what you how you framing this from your statement. Help me to understand your position. Not to
Okay.
let you talk you. When you say that being a young man, somewhere you coined this idea and concept, and you figure that this is where it should be with
Okay.
and yeah,
Um, it goes through examining oneself, right?
okay,
You
okay,
have, and we gonna put everything out. You have some men that masturbates, right?
yeah,
the semen is a part of your you. It's a part of your essence. That's how you create. That's how you create yourself, right? We can break down everything around it and so on and so forth, but that's you. When you semen retent, right? You go full masculine. Your you becomes stronger, right? And having stew ejaculation, basically, that's what I am saying. You aid the woman. The woman don't just have a child by herself. And once this child is born, you look at this child. The child has every essence, not only for the woman but for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we can sit here and go even deeper. What they call the ovaries as a woman is the testicles in the male.
Okay.
Right? Her vaginal part changed the part that the urine comes out of. It grows into a penis.
Right. Okay.
So we can go deeper with it, and that's basically like what it is. And that's how I view it. There's an essence from the man and there's an essence from the woman, and together they come together.
Yeah. So 1 and 1 equals
it's
3.
3. Exactly.
Yeah, equals 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so we can't discredit. You see her face, but they.
I got you.
You see her face, and through that, like even through mathematics, they try to get you like, oh, 1 and 1 plus 1 equals 2. So where's the space in between that?
Yeah, right.
You know, so there is so much. There's so many different variables.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, Queen?
Yeah.
What do you consider greatness of a man?
There you go. That's what you talk to for that.
What I consider greatness of a man is him knowing himself. You know, because you have so many brothers. Just like the sisters, just like the queens. You know, not knowing who they are, but but they've been on a quest of learning more about self and learning more about not just self, but his ancestry, his people, where it comes from, but knowledge of self within, not just taking stuff as face value, but actually sitting down and having a revelation, a conscious conversation with self, or maybe even an elder, about the masculine journey, the journey of a man. But coming to a sense of peace and understanding of who he is and his value, is important. So that to me, when I can see that and kind of can see that this king has a reverence for himself. So if he has a reverence for himself and elevate himself in the process, he can elevate me, and we can elevate each other at the same time. So
that's it.
Yeah, that to me makes this is real important. So that's what I look at.
What is the self? You should have knew that was coming.
You know where you're going with that.
Self is self. Self is within. So what it looks, excuse me, sir, what it looks like, all right, what it looks like, may be a little bit different for the person itself, but self is within. I don't know what it looks like for everybody else or what it would look like for him, because I'm not a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a queen. So so what that looks like on his journey, I don't know what his upbringing is. I don't know where he came from. What are his challenges to work on, or that he is working on? So what his self looks like will determine. That's determined factor of who he is.
If that train don't shut up.
Yeah, that's your background, huh?
That's my background. That's That 5 o'clock.
That's
Give it a
Bob,
couple
Bobby
of
McCray in the background.
yeah, that's the 5 o'clock. That's that 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
The reason why I said what is self, and like I was talking to Baba today about this book, right? I don't know if I have it close by, but there's this particular book that I've read. It's called The Untitled Soul, right? So in a reference of the book, the narrator asks, who is the one that's looking? Is it you? Or you're the one that's aware that you're looking? And stemming the statement the way he stemmed it, it pretty much goes to the breakdown and the analogy what they do in society, right? They speak of your conscious self and your subconscious self, right? And in order for you to program the subconscious, you have to first program the conscious, right? And that's what it is. Like when I say who's the self, that's what I'm asking, because it goes deeper than just saying it's within. Okay, the self is within, you're correct. But what else is within the self that's within?
Let me slide this in.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the self. Yeah, that's old saying that says on the S1 pyramid, allegedly over there in Egypt, it says, "Oh man, know thyself, and you'll know the gods of the universe." That's written in, I think it's one of the book, "Come Pour by Day and by Night" by E. Wallace Budd, or the Book of the Dead. But somewhere in it talks about that. But we have to go back to the premise of thought. As a man thinketh,
He becomes.
so is he. And that ain't got to be in the book. That's with God. Because if you don't think much of oneself, then you don't produce nothing of oneself. If you think it's way, don't think too highly of yourself. Why not?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
There we
That's
go.
fine.
I was like, I hope that nobody see that, right?
He kissed her again.
And he like right here. I was like, oh God, really?
Oh man, I'm sorry, Bob. I just had to let that out.
Yeah.
I'm one of the shittiest friends to have around with stuff like I'm gonna laugh at you. I'll watch you bust your ass.
Oh my God. I'm like, I've been doing this whole time.
And Baba, did you see her slap herself? And like the slap was a little intense. She's like, whoa. I'm sorry. She slapped herself with a slap.
I'm sorry. I have a fly in my house right now. I'm so sorry. And battle is on.
Oh my God. Hey, the slap, she's like, oh, that was a little I'm sorry, Baba. Continue.
Baba, I was listening. I just
But
I was hoping that nobody catch that, but that would be tremendous.
We look at it, and he just started laughing, leaned over, we couldn't hold it. But now that's why I go back to that, because what determines the greatness of a man is what a man think about himself, and how and like Rich would say, he's not here. What's your program? What is programmed in your computer, in your mind, you reproduce, and what have you been fed in that you are feeding off of? Even with your diet, plays a lot of how you think and function, right? And so if a man don't think very much of himself, he'll try to be something that he's not. You got to first learn to do what? Love oneself. You know,
this
is what I'm doing now. I'm going back now, learning. Though I'm 74 years old, right? I'm going back now to recreate or to reprogram myself to function a different way, and that's not easy. That's got a lot of old stuff that you got to tear up and purge out, and thinking and doing things, Because I'm kind of a guy, man. Woo-wee. I could act plenty. I'm a Taurus, as they say. You know how it is. Look here. You the 1,000 if you ain't careful. When you're,
come on.
But that's not really who I am. That's who society have programmed me to react to. So I had to learn to become more proactive than reactive. So I'm working on that because, man, look, I soon let you have it because I didn't care. I really didn't care. But I have to learn that don't let people pull your trigger. So I'm learning more about myself. And my queen statement, baby, learn to listen. Don't talk so much. Listen. So I'm working on that. See where they're coming from, because I lost a court case because I got mad with the judge and walked out the court. I had the case won.
And it probably was in your favor too.
Huh?
And it probably that case probably would have been in your favor, but you crippled
It
yourself.
was later on, but she told me. So you had your case won until you walked out. That's like not showing up for court.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but I let my emotions get to me, because the dude in front of me was lying out his eye teeth and his asshole. You know, and I knew it. And she act like she couldn't see the man was lying, and I'm sitting there showing all the time. I say, y'all two's in this thing together. Shit, this ain't gonna work. I kind of just walked.
But let me show you. Let me tell you something. What I've learned with about myself, actually, because I did that same thing. Okay. based on the way, like, I was great, but I was out of my greatness. And when I say I'm out of my greatness, meaning I wasn't standing in my square. Right? So I had to actually have conversations with myself. When I would feel like dirt or lower than who I naturally is, it's like I get this pulsation within my heart. It doesn't feel right. You know, it feels like you're, you know, that tightening up in your stomach, that scared, disgusted feeling. And I sat and I spoke to myself one day. I'm like, do you know that you're killing me? And this is the consciousness I'm speaking. I'm like, you're killing me. To feel the way I'm feeling is not healthy. I know that there's a chemical that you're letting off within my body. Yes, that's making me sick. And if I'm sick and you're killing me, guess what? You're gonna die. So we need to change that. And I'm like, I understand that I'm not the healthiest person, but it's not the food that's killing me right now. This is you. Like, all these things that you put up, like, you know, like, you get it, like, if something happened, an accident pops out of nowhere, you get scared and it's just knee-jerking feeling. And then the more I spoke to myself, the less I felt that.
You calm yourself down.
Yes, so to touch base on what you said, so a man, you know, speak it, so he becomes. It's the truth. We are the creators of our own reality.
Yes, and a lot of men don't know this.
Right? So if I'm gonna leave
all
it
right,
alone. I promise I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna turn my camera off because I gotta turn my camera off, y'all. But I'm here.
So
take care of that situation.
So I had to learn this, right?
And these things I'm talking about, go ahead.
And then I realized that I actually had to build up my confidence, and that's when I started listening to your Les Brown, your Abraham Hicks, your who else? There's quite a few motivational speakers, and I noticed it started helping me. So I started creating my own mantras, affirmations per se. And I would chant these things, and I would instill it within my kids. And I noticed it started feeling different. You know, the walking outside now, it's like I'm standing in my youth, like I'm demanding the respect without opening my mouth. It's like, you know, everywhere I go, you would see, like, I guess they were aligned as well. Like, certain dudes or certain female, like, hey, what's up, kid? You know, and stuff like that. Like, people would walk with me, like, oh, you know this person? I'm like, nah, you know, but I know what was happening because there was a change. Like, I was more focused within versus focusing on outside. When we're more focused on the outside, we create chaos and we make things more difficult for ourselves. You know, so believe it or not, I don't care who wants to believe it or not. We are gods.
Yeah.
Because whatever we speak, we attract to ourselves. And it manifests within us first. It's just like you can close your mouth.
You're right.
You can close your mouth and speak, and you still hear your name. Who's calling your name?
Right.
You know, or you're the one witness, or you're the one that's aware.
Good point. Good point. And that's some things that a lot of time they do, and certain what they call experiments. One time they talked about this group in Germany. These 10 kids, they were not allowed to speak, but you had to use your mind to communicate. Right? You couldn't verbalize. You had to think, and I had to be able to pick up on that wavelength to know what you were thinking or to command. You know, it's and that's a gift that we don't even utilize anymore, and that is telepathy.
Okay.
See, we talk about the spiritual man, but we build up on the physical, the five senses, but we don't deal with another one, our clairvoyance, intuition, telepathy, being telepathic. We don't deal with those areas. And I often wonder why, because that's you. When you're able to sit there with your mind and put things in place, or you're able to perceive things before they happen, you know, and that may be a little bit off the subject, but you're talking about knowing, the greatness of a man, knowing not your place, but like you said earlier, you knowing that you in this grid, right? You're in this zone. How do I stay in this zone of peace?
And there's something that works for me as well, and I think this is something that they got messed up as well. Um, we tend to run from the negative parts of ourselves,
Oh,
right? But that negativity, along with the positive, creates balance.
balance, balance.
A
Why
lot
do
of
we
people
run?
don't believe that. See, the thing though, what a lot of us do, we try to control the negative versus letting it flow.
Right.
Let it be what it is. Don't try to change it, don't try to attack it, because the more you aim to change or attack it, the
The
more it
more,
sticks with you.
yeah, it's you notice how an argument with an individual stay with you when you leave, even get out of their presence. Especially
How?
about you, especially about that you're in a relationship with. You gone down the road and hell, you flip on them, and you still hear that same argument going on in your head.
Yeah, because you
Exactly.
start thinking about things that you should have said or play
Yeah,
back what they said to you.
That's
I
the
call it the
control.
woulda coulda syndrome. The woulda coulda
Yeah.
syndrome. Now,
That's the control. That's the
yeah,
control.
the
You
woulda
want to
coulda
change it.
syndrome. Man, why don't I let that? And that's when you really got to think. Yeah, there you go. You really that's nice. That's nice. You know, and I say, I tell my wife, before mom, I was married 38 years, a young lady, and she loved the fuss. And she know I'm gonna go on the road. I don't need to have you in my head going as high with this 80,000 pounds behind on this truck behind me, going down the road arguing with you in my head, you know. But she would do it every time. She would do it. Boy, look here. And I got to argue with her in my mind, trying to clear it out before I get where I'm going. And that's when you lose focus. So a lot of times the things that affects you internally manifest external. Does that make any sense?
No, it does, because you are the
It makes a lot of
creator.
That's it.
You are the creator,
That's right.
regardless if you believe it or not. That's why there's a lot of times like people fail to understand that it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You ask for it.
Yeah,
And
you
whatever
get
you ask, the universe is going to give it to you. The universe don't give a shit about putting a bow on it, wrapping it, making it look pretty. It's going to give it to you in its rawest form. So you got to be careful what you're saying and how you say it and when you say it.
yeah,
And talking about food, food is a trigger. And when
right.
you're not eating correctly, guess what? You
Yeah,
creating entities around you. You might create a gluttonous entity that all he wants to do, like, I'm sad, I feel like shit, and all he want to do is just eat, 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 and
and
eat.
it comes from appetite. Come
But
from
it's
the appetite.
killing you. But
Right,
it's
right.
killing you.
Well, we have to realize that everything that's in the world has a spirit attached to it. It has a spirit, and most spirit, like that fly wants to live, but he's trying to give him, trying to get him a kiss. Something she has on that's attracting the fly to her.
She
You know,
probably smell like moon.
that shades through play, you know, and that fly know it, and he's just trying to get close to it, and she's fighting him off, and he said, you calling me with this fragrance, you know, and he's
it's
coming to
my, I think it's my lip gloss.
might be because he's trying to hit it with the face. So you know, that's funny, you know, the sense of smell, how it affects it. But then again, here's a prime example. Now it's annoying her that he's doing it, and there are things that in our inner spirit that annoys us, that shows out, that manifests in our outer self.
But look at this. But look at this though, right? We don't look at things the way we're supposed to look at things. We take everything for granted.
We're programmed like that. I gotta use we're programmed like that.
And I'm gonna show you why we take everything for granted. Let's use that fly for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not picking on you. I love you.
Yeah, okay.
She, right? Her aim is to catch that fly. Right?
You want to kill it.
Yeah, I know, but she's not staying still. Goes back within self. I bet you if she starts staying still and let him do what he does, she's gonna get him. Right? So my point is, there's always a sign, whether we're doing something balanced or unbalanced. Right?
Right.
Our self always gives a sign. Perfect example, like I could be driving, I may not see the car that's right on my hip, because there's blind sides in cars too, not just
most definitely. Yeah.
So you may not see that car, and my subconscious like, yo, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Don't go over. Your indicator is already on, but you stayed in your lane. As soon as you look, it's like the car just appeared out of nowhere.
Yep. Many times.
That's the guidance system of yourself.
Right.
You may be going down the road and yourself say, hey, don't turn that way, go this way. You be like, whatever, right. I know it's that way. But you overlook it. Your spirit is guiding you. But you go the opposite way. When you go the opposite way, they be like, oh, they're doing it's funny. I'm speaking of my experience. They're checking the road. So my cops, they're doing a random stop. So my son, I didn't have them in their booster seat. Got a ticket. My subconscious is telling me to go the next way. You know, so when we second guess ourselves, we remove ourselves from our greatness, because we're fighting. It's like in one way you're leaning on your understanding, right? And you're forgetting the spirit within yourself, not knowing your conscious and your unconscious, or even your heart. You're supposed to synchronize them. But we're so focused on the noise that's outside, we forget the peace within.
All the distractions, yeah.
Because no matter how much you run, you think about this. Hey, Pache.
Yeah.
You ever try to run left your shadow?
Not as an adult, but I remember as a kid.
Did it ever leave?
Of course.
See, but that's the thing. That's us as adults now. We keep running from ourselves. We want to change ourselves up so much. Like, oh damn, Baba, that shirt you got is fly. I'm gonna go get one that looks just like you. So now, instead of being you, you're mimicking Baba. But Baba is Baba, and what you have, he don't have, and vice versa. So to be great as a man is to stand within your essence, in your truth, and flow with your rhythm. And understand your own rhythm. You cannot understand or flow with somebody else's bop.
Right.
You have to flow with yours.
That's real.
You know, and that's the problem. We tried to imitate somebody, but when people say this is pretty, and you try to imitate what's called pretty, then what that make you? You go out and you go out because they say skinny and blonde is pretty and it's beautiful. Now here's you $390, and you're gonna go out and get you a wig, and you're gonna try to get down to 85 pounds. But your bone structure say you got to carry that 250.
And it's so funny that you would mention that. I was watching a semi documentary night before last, and it's on Netflix. And I think it's called Skin. I think that's what it's called.
Okay.
And it's a documentary talking to talking to sisters about the skin that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And this documentary took place in Africa.
Oh
And
yeah.
she was from Nigeria, the sister that did the documentary. Well, a lot of the women in Nigeria use a skin bleaching cream.
Yeah, they're trying to get.
And yeah, and it was so many women that were doing the skin bleaching because the men liked it. Well, if my husband likes it, I'm going to keep doing it. And they, well, what if you don't have that husband anymore, and the man that you meet wants you to rock your own natural color, your own skin color. Oh well, then I'll let my color come back. And I was like, man, but it was the mindset of these women, and when you saw their knuckles and their feet, because you can't just put it on your face, you got to put this all over your body. And so that was one of the things that they were talking about. So it was a thing of you doing this not for self, not really for self, but to appease other people. So you're not even walking in your truth because you're ashamed of your skin, because you feel like you get better privileges if your skin is lighter, or you look prettier, because to them that was their definition of beauty. So it was bleaching the skin and wearing the contacts. They're actually wearing the color contact lenses. We were doing that back in the day, but not so much now. So, but I'm just stating this, piggybacking on people. The brother may be looking at Baba's shirt and wanting to jump on board because that shirt looks good on Baba, but do you like the shirt? Would you like one like it, or is it that you're trying to walk in the same light as Baba? Is it the skin complex that you have against yourself because you don't like the way the sun gazes on your perfectly brown chocolate, skin, bronze like skin? Or is it you're trying to look like or appease some other people because they don't know who they are? So
I apologize. I had to step out. I went and ask Mom a question. Back in the day, as a young boy coming up, they had a bleaching cream that a lot of sisters used to get. They would bleach their face and stuff, and the neck would still be the ochre. I couldn't think of the name of it. Yeah,
Ambi.
one of so this ain't nothing new. All this bleaching, man. Back in the 50s and 60s, we had sisters over here was trying to bleach themselves white, man. White women was trying to get brown with that copper tone, and sister was trying to get white with the bleaching cream, and it was a mess.
But look
Man,
at
we
this.
slap at it. That means you've lost your identity. You're not happy with what the Creator done have made you. You go out there and you bleached your hair. You did all this. They ain't for us even to try to change their nose and everything. And
I
people right
never,
now, they're not satisfied with the physical, and your spiritual life is jacked up.
I've never, I've never aimed to be as light as my mom, because my mom is like, you see my second walked in the room just now, like she's a little lighter than him,
Right.
right? I never aimed it. I've always loved my voluptuous you, like there's something powerful about it. But don't get it twisted, this tone, you can lose it
Right.
if you don't go outside and radiate within the sun. You can lose it. Like some people, you start. I have a few on my skin. You start seeing little white
Look,
blotches,
yeah, blotches. Yeah.
yeah, on your body. That tells you if you're sitting in a building for too long, you're not getting enough sun, or like I'm still searching for myself. I feel like I'm
And we
halfway.
all are.
I feel like I'm halfway there, you know, because I can be greater than where I'm at right now. Some people be like, "Oh my god, like yo, you're doing this, you're doing that," and for some particular reason, I'm just not satisfied.
No.
I don't ever get comfortable within the midst of what actually going on because I know I'm more powerful than that. You know, and in order for a male, a man, to y'all, to be great, he has to focus on himself. From respect what you ingest, and be advised, food is not the only thing. The
No.
music you listen to, the frequency, the energy you hang around, there's
Yeah.
so many different things, you know, and we don't give back to nature enough because the same thing with the same energy within us is resonating and flowing with nature. Like the trees, like we even take the trees for granted. Like, you know, just look at the leaves, or like today I was talking to you and I said, hey, I'm walking outside barefooted. I'm grounding myself
Mm-hmm.
while the sun is hitting me, and I'm gazing at it. You know, but to be great, the greatness is found within you. And the more you're within yourself, ideas will pop out the wazoo. Ideas you didn't even know you have within yourself.
I have a Bob, I have a question. What would you say to that queen that would ask, how do I get to know myself? How do I find that self that 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 I can radiate with, bring out my natural? How
You sound a little choppy. I don't know if you wanna like minimize yourself and come back because
okay,
you sound super
I'll come
choppy.
back. Okay, y'all keep talking. I'll come back.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
I want to hear the question because it sounded very, very important because something along the line of I would you come back. I don't want to try to figure
Okay,
it. All right.
all right. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back.
See the thing with us too, like today, like society have you
And that's
aim
our
to
biggest problem. Our biggest enemy is society, trying to measure up to society's
yeah,
level of what's great, what's good, what's perfect, what's beautiful, what's not beautiful, what's ugly, you know?
and
And that's
competing
the
with the
problem.
next and competing with the next man.
Right, yeah. And we're in a competitive society because of capitalism. It's all about competition,
But
you know?
what's for you? You ever heard the terminology? What's for you is for you and nobody else, and that is
Yeah.
true.
But,
That
but
is
all
so
the time
true.
we say that, but we don't accept that because we're steady reaching beyond.
Because
You know, and we've been programmed like that even in school. We compete who's the smartest kid in the class, uh and all these things because we're built around competition. We got to remove ourselves from the competition and say, look, I mean, I'm the tortoise, you go and run your race like the rabbit, I'll be there when I get there.
who created, see, we're not the one
There
that
we
created
go.
these, we're not the one that created these competitions, but we're following them,
Yep, and we
right?
brought them to the program in order to we said, well, in order to compete, you got to do this in the whole thing in school. Well, in order to beat the white man, you got to be better, and that was created a competitive thing. That's like it is now, even with the things going on now with in society. The whole thing is about I want respect. No,
You got
you
it.
said, hmm, is that what Black lives matter, white lives matter. I mean, all lives matter, right? Hell, even the fly wants to live, the gnat wants to live, so all lives matter. But it's all about competition. I want my respect, but you don't respect your own damn self, your own kind. Right
That's
now,
what
Chicago murders is up doing Black Lives Matter. Come on, people.
you don't think that those even that is is a form of programming as well,
We know
because
it is.
what I've realized and I've read up on this, like you will have not only police within those protesters look like regular people
Yeah,
that's there to
to
disrupt
to
and,
create, yeah, because
and create the
the beast
chaos.
loves chaos. He loves confusion. what they call provocateurs.
Yep.
Yeah, they gonna. You cannot go let the government infiltrate to stir some shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then they run and hide because once you know, y'all, I had those cats in school who always urge to fight but never get in the fight, and, and get two people to fight and they stand back and watch. I got. I'm gonna meet myself for a second.
It's just funny, man, like how we step away from ourselves and fail to look back at ourselves and fail to see the beauty within everything that we have created and have, even the things that you require or your desires have to start within. So why not focus more on you? Focus more on you, and everything that you need outside of yourself will fall into its rightful place. But if you keep going for what's outside before you focus on what's within, it's gonna take longer, and it's gonna have you feeling some type of way because you lack the patience to actually gain what you desire. And when it's not flowing upon the time frame you want it to flow, right?
Right.
You start cursing it. Like out here,
Ah.
like I would hear people say, why this has to happen to me? Why that?
Right.
Why whatever? Imagine if you take that same why and put it in a context like this. Why am I so great? Why am I so powerful? Why am I so healthy? Why every time when I step outside, I'm a magnet for money? Why do I get all the respect I get? Like everywhere I go, I'm loved, I'm like. That same emphasis, put that same emphasis, but change the words. Because some of these words are dead anyway. Some of these words don't even mean what you think it is. So are you
True.
manifesting what you really want correctly?
Nah.
When the
Nah.
words don't actually have the same frequency that you're looking for?
And that's the thing that people don't understand. That frequency, right? You're not really. Um, you're saying one thing, but you're not manifesting that thought of that manifestation. You know.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to understand the etymology of certain things. When we say things, does it really mean what we're saying? You know.
It
And
seemed
we're going
like
through that right now.
before we even figure out the etymology of the words, we need to figure out the etymology of our damn self.
Right.
Because we tend to label, uh I'm black, I'm this, I'm that, and those are all titles. That's
Yeah.
really not what you are.
Yeah.
You know, what does your soul say? How do you really feel when you say these things
Yeah.
and you flow with these things? How do you really feel? Do you feel complete?
There she is.
Do you feel complete?
That's the thing. Our problem because we do things because we don't feel complete. We feel because we were told that we're not perfect. You're inadequate. You're not worthy. These things are programmed to us as you know. You're a sinner. You know you're going to hell and all these things. And most folks when they go to church because they don't want to go to hell, but they're going to hell when they go to church.
Because they don't know what they're worshiping.
Right? You right there, man. I
But
got.
look,
I
but
got.
look,
Okay.
this
Go
is the
ahead.
temple. This is the temple right
But
here.
no, you got to go to that brick and mortar over there and see that white, blue eyed, and blonde haired hippie on the wall. You
Uh,
look at it and say that's my God.
But that's a box. You're going
But
to a
you don't even
box.
remember this. People what believe that? Yep, baby girl.
yeah. What'd you say, Mama?
I'm waiting on you to come back with your question.
Oh, okay, okay. The question that I had was, what do you say to that king or queen who who receives the statement or hears the statement? You need to look within. You need to search self. And it sounds so simple to say, but what do you say to a king and queen? It's like, well, I don't know. How do I search myself? How do I start that process? What do I do? What answer would you give that king or queen?
Find a quiet place and learn how to meditate. That's the only way you can get inside yourself and get away from the outside noise and distraction. One must learn how to properly meditate, because that's the key to unlocking the mysteries within the inner self.
Hmm. And is there a way that you would advise someone to meditate?
I would get them to learn how to get you a quiet place. Set the room with your aroma. Get the certain candles or your aroma that you're pleased with, and learn how to close and how to calm your mind down, because you got to quieten the mind before you can meditate.
That's right.
See? So it's more to than that. There's trance meditation, and there's another form, but you got to learn how to quieten your mind. That's why, and I heard and I call him Yeremia now, how I told a day. That's why I use the affirmation of balance. This is twice a day. I will sit calmly up on the throne in the temple of my own body, between the two great pillars of positive and negative vibrations, balancing them to the point where I can radiate through my temple of light to all whom I contact the wonderful peace, poise, power, wisdom, love, and harmony of our ancestors. For our ancestors are the anthropic permutation of the entire cosmos. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Oh,
Look at that, Bob.
yeah, I'm looking at you. Okay, see, and I meditate.
My positive and my negative.
Right, and I learn, and then now, like you said, if I remember, you have the power to call things into your world.
Mm-hmm.
And when you call it, you can right, you can invoke it. See, a lot of people there's it's called invitation and invoking. They say they're same, but they're not. I can invoke them to come to me. The energy. I'm invoking money to come to me. I'm calling prosperity into my world for manifestation. First of all, not to be selfish or greedy, but to help others while I help myself. One thing the cosmos don't like is greediness and selfishness.
What I understand as well is, right, we keep asking for things, but we have never changed the trajectory of asking and say, what can I do for you? If anyone ever actually asks the universe, what can I do for you?
Well, in that thing, in your thoughts, you want to know that I'm doing it that I might help others that's on the journey, right? Mm-hmm. It's not for me alone. Have you know, and you said something a while ago was the key. When you have the spirit that's called money in your possession, do you say I'm going to use it, I'm going to spend it?
Use it.
Use it is why I'm going to go spend some money. It won't come back. When you say I'm going to use it, it returns.
But there's another thing. There's another beauty with that as well. The way you give it, what hand you give it with, and what is the face? What is the facement of it?
Key thing, what hand you give it with. A lot of folks don't know that.
You know,
and how you give it. Do you give it face up or face down?
Yeah. Is the face facing you? Is the face facing you, or is it facing away from you?
And exactly. I taught Shade them a long time ago. Look, I'm gonna mute. I gotta calm. I'm gonna mute my mic. Okay.
Great minds think alike, because as soon as you ask him that question, Queen, this is the book I went for. The Sitting. And this is a book that teaches you how to meditate.
Okay.
You know, but I want to touch base on something he said. He said you have to learn to quiet the mind. The mind isn't quiet, because when you sit there, it brings forth thoughts. So you keep bringing up the wrong thoughts. The aim, not saying he's incorrect, but the quiet, in order to get it quiet, is to have it focus on one particular thought. And when you have it focus on that one particular thought, then you can feel the amplifying within your body that you're meditating. Because in the beginning, you're going to be like, am I doing it right? I'm not doing it correctly, because your thought never shuts up. It keeps going. Don't, like earlier when we spoke about not fighting the negative. Like a lot of us aim to control it. And the more we aim to control it, the more it spirals out of control. So the objective is not to control it. The objective is to let it flow. And once it flow by itself, gradually you realize that it either goes away or you change the channel to a more powerful thought. See, we're all frequencies, and we have to find a frequency of whether
I'm
positive.
apologize. I got to step away from the meeting for a minute to give a guy some important papers that I've got his ears. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So,
Okay.
you know, so with that focus, like I was saying, we're frequency, so we have to tap into that frequency of alignment.
Yeah. Well, as far as meditation, well, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, I went for a year ago, 2 years. I went for a meditation retreat in Kaufman, Texas, and I enjoyed it. And one of the first 3 days, it was for 10 days. And when you got there, they took your phone. You couldn't bring your tablet. They don't want you to bring your tablet, your phone. They even want you to bring a journal, a journal or a pen. You bring your toiletries, you bring your bedding, and you bring yourself. So you check your phone in and your car keys when you come in, and they keep that, the whole time. So you're thinking like 10 days of nothing but silence. It was a code of silence, so nobody could talk to each other. And the first 3 days, they taught us how to focus on our breathing, not a thought, but focus on our breathing. They wanted you to focus on the space between your the end of your nose to the top of your mouth. That's it. And feel your breath. That was the first 3 days. And you sitting there like, what does this mean? And I'm talking about, we started meditation at 4:30 in the morning, and we finished at 9 p.m. In between, we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Of course, we had breaks in between, and we had morning meditation was almost 2 hours. Was really 2 hours. So you're sitting there, you make your seat, your cushion, everything as comfortable as you like, and you sit there and you focus on this. And the women sat on one side, the men, on the other, and we're sitting there and it's quiet, and you're meditating, and you're trying to meditate. Now the first hour or so, you are focusing on trying to clear your head and trying to stay focused on being focused, and but the fourth day, it was like the administrator knows that by the fourth day, you're going to be in the vein a little bit. You're going to finally find your niche, and your meditation starts becoming a part of who you are. It becomes second nature. And our dinner consisted of tea and fruit. And during the meditation time, you were feeding your spirit so much that you didn't even realize that you were fasting, because you're focused on the premise of meditating and becoming in tune with self. And that was one of the things that was the best experience, because your sensitivity, your vibration is so heightened that at the end, when they lifted the code of silence, the first thing they said is, do not come in contact with each other. You cannot hug each other, because even though you weren't speaking to these people, you became connected with these people because y'all shared the same meditation time. Y'all shared the same focus of, becoming in tune with self, that your vibration was so high. They encouraged, please don't touch each other. It's going to be very emotional. Do not do it. So that first day, the day before we left, we were able to, code of silence was lifted at like 12 at lunchtime, and everybody was chatting, because they was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I did it. And, it it was such a great experience that I tell anybody, if you can turn off your phone, yourself, your mind for 10 days, I encourage anybody to do it, because it taught me the value of meditation and tuning into self. It showed me how to do it, because even now, even after the 3 days, the next 7 days was focusing on particular areas of your body. And you could literally, once you start getting in the vein and being in tune, you could actually send that vibration to that area, to your right foot, to your left foot, to your heart, to your stomach. You can feel those vibrations because you are now in tune and you know how to do it. So it's easy to say, you could sit down and close your eyes, and you might even hum a mantra. You might even listen to some chakra music. I don't know, but the meditation that we did, we didn't have music. At the end, he would come in and he would speak, and then he might do a chant, and that we know that that's ending the meditation. That's when he would come in, but the whole meditation is silence. So when people get to a place, people often don't understand the premise or the concept of what that means to go into self and go into a meditative space, and feel the sacredness of your atmosphere, and feel the sacredness of stripping down and getting in tune with self. A lot of people don't get that, and they don't understand that. So I would say, if you're unsure, check with someone that may be knowledgeable and showing you how to connect. But it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but it can prove to be very beneficial for you in the long run, because it can show you when things are wreaking havoc around you, that you could come to a space and just sit still and slow everything down by tuning in. And not only that, you can also tune in, and that'll allow you to connect to your ancestors and your higher power, whoever that is for you. It'll allow you to tune in and connect, because you can actually quiet your atmosphere, but you gotta know how to do it. So that's my journey on that. Hello, is anyone there?
I'm here talking and forgetting I muted my mic. And that was beautiful. See, um, there's so many different ways, but you know what you just shared was powerful. But what I've learned, Queen, is that no matter how many ways they give it to you, right? You still have to take charge, right? And figure it out how you're gonna make this work, because it's like you will sit there and beat up yourself, like, oh, I'm not getting this. But let me show you how it works for me. Like I would lay, like I do mine's laying down. Like I would lay in the bed and let my feet hang, right? And when I fully focus in, I can tell because my foot starts to tingle. And that's how I know I'm fully meditating the way I'm supposed to. Like my foot start tingling, I can hear my heartbeat, right? And another thing I do when I'm doing this is like I'll put my finger right here by my first eye, basically, and just sit there in silence and just feel. And sometimes I could feel myself lift, right? But when I'm not focused, I can't get nothing whatsoever. I'm distracted. I'm like walking, playing in my head, like, what the hell? Let me put some music on and go back there. Like, damn, it's not working today. Forgetting, or the phone is there and it's vibrating. And I'm hearing, I'm like, shh, now I'm tempted to answer it. But I notice once I shut everything down, it flows, it works better for me.
Mhm.
And when I get out of it, I started to look at people like aliens. Seriously. See, distracted like that. But yeah, um, it is what it is. But
He was hanging around too. He was like, he gonna see me sooner or later.
yeah, he's like, forget that old dude. um, but yeah, it's like I was always aiming, like thinking the more material I obtain, the greater I am. But the more I sit with myself, I've realized the greater I become.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what I do, I can try to tap dance or run away from myself. Guess what? I have to come back and focus. It's kind of like what he just did, right? He stormed off, and I'm like, hey, hold on, let me mute this. What's up? You know, you gotta yourself like that.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is it's it's you. Like you can't run away from, you can't run away from yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the thing of it is, we try so hard. There's so many people that don't want to deal with themselves, and I think that's the best way to know where you are and who you are. You got to deal with self one way or the other, because self is gonna show up, and it's gonna show up at a very inopportune time, and it's gonna show up all kinds of crazy if you don't deal with self, you know, um, as much as possible. Uh, I think, going back to the meditation part, one of the things, like I said, timing was perfect, because they knew the first 3 days were going to be our hardest days.
Mm-hmm.
And, they knew that. And it was, you can hear it every day, just focus on breathing. I was like, I didn't come here to focus on my breathing, because I thought the whole thing was just going to be that. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, and I'm not going to lie, in my suitcase, I had a journal and a pen, and I didn't really realize that I did, right? So, and I was like, I mean, I wish I could find that entry. If I could find that entry, I would read it, because I was going off. I was just like, I don't even know why I'm here, and this is crazy. And by time, because I had to get it out, right? By the time I got down to the end, I realized I'm doing myself a disservice, because I'm quitting before I got started, and I'm not really seeing the depth of it.
He's trying
And
to run.
yeah, and that day that I said, you know what? I'm not cheating. I'm not going to cheat. I put my pen down, and I pretended like I didn't have my journal. That fourth day, boom, the light went on, and I got it, and I felt it. And after that, I was in, you know. But it took that moment, because I was actually getting kind of frustrated, because I was just like, man, what did I sign up for? And you could hear, because it's a code of silence, so you could hear, if you walk down the halls, you could hear people crying, you could hear people yelling out, because this literally forced you to look at you. You could run all you want to. You didn't have a phone to distract you. You couldn't Facebook. You couldn't text. You couldn't call. You couldn't talk to your neighbor. We were in rooms by ourselves with our own little bathroom and everything. So it was like a little dorm room. That was you in those little four walls. You had to deal with you. And so you heard it. You heard it in the hallways. You heard people crying and whimpering. But after like the fourth day, it was silence. People started to get it, and people accepted that I'm here. I'm going to benefit from it. It was all walks of life. You had all shades, all colors. You had different backgrounds. You had people from Thailand. You had people from India, Pakistan. You had a sister from Atlanta, people from Florida. They all came to this retreat. And all a couple of ladies, that was their second time. I was a first timer, but but it's like they knew that the first 3 days were gonna be really tough. That fourth day, the meditation, the vibration of the meditation totally changed.
Felt great, didn't it?
It
The
did. It did.
greatness.
Man, I wish I could find that journal entry. Boy, let me tell you, I was going off.
Hey, and let me tell you something. That's even the same issue when, say for instance, like for me, right? Like my eating habits, the third day is like a traumatization period, right? so it's like you say, okay, I'm on this because I did like the lemonade diet, right? So I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. So whatever. Went to 3 days and I started relapsing. Somebody's like, wait, no, you got to go to the fourth day. The fourth day, I wasn't even hungry. Right? The fifth day, I started realizing that, hey, when you feel like you're hungry, you're just dehydrated. So that fall hand in hand with sitting still and the meditation, you know, and the biggest pushback you get is from yourself. So how can you be great when you're pushing back at yourself? And that's the issue. That's the issue.
Yeah, because you know, after if you push back, you're gonna have to deal with self later. And it's like what we were talking about earlier. You know, we have that conversation with somebody, we'll play over in our head what we should have said, what we should have done, and we'll play that conversation over till we get angry all over again. So when we don't finish, you know what I'm saying? Whenever we don't finish it, I know that if I say, you know what, F it, I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? I would have been, the minute I got in the car and started driving down the road, I'd be like, what did I just do? I didn't even, you know, and I didn't want that. Yeah. And I didn't want that fight within myself of not completing it and seeing it to the end. And that's what the self-reflection is it is that fight with yourself. It is that fight to see it to the end, you know, and you have to give it all you got. Whether you want to or not, you got to give it all you got.
I didn't make it. I didn't make it to the 10th day though. I tell you that. I made it to 7. I couldn't go to the 10th day. I'm like, nah, I can't do this diet to 10 day. I give y'all 7, maybe next time.
Yeah,
but
that's a tough diet. I think the most I did was 10. I did.
Man.
Yeah, it's tough.
I made 7, so I can imagine you going on a sitting still meditation retreat. And what I realize sometimes too, like these things that I'm learning in the meditation sequence and learning how to be great as a man, I started realizing when you come out of that and you go outside, it's like you can see everybody without their I could say the bullshit or the makeup that they naturally wears. You see them for who they really is, and that is scary. The first time when it happened,
trust me.
The first time it happened,
they just don't realize it.
The first time it happened, I was like, "What the? Like, how you look like that? Like, yo, what the hell is going on?" And I started understanding, like, you can see the pain or discomfort in people, you know. Because for me, naturally, I can tell. You know, we all on this channel, we have something great about ourselves, but I can sense the BS and I can sense the lies. Like when somebody's lying, I can sense when somebody's hurting and so on and so forth. Like, you know, so, you know, if you hear me like, hey, Pache, you good? You're like, yeah, I'm fine. And I'm like, hey, you sure? When you hear that, sure, you hear that sure with the emphasis on it, you be like, yeah, like, you sure? You're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna leave you alone. You come around when you come around. That's just an example. Just giving you an example of what it is. But picture being the person that has that gift and picture being the other person on the other hand, not knowing I have that gift.
Right.
That shit will drive you crazy because it's like If you don't learn how to detach, you'll take that person's energy on. Remember how you say you drive down the road and it's to keep playing back in your head and you getting mad again? So I detach from things. So when I listen to them, I don't allow them to become me. I let it like, and I even say this little thing too, like, hey, as soon as whosoever, if they're a negative or whatever, I'm like, hey, that gift they came with, that energy, send it right back. Tell them to keep that. And sometimes when it doesn't flow the way I want it to do, and then I cleanse myself, it feels like weight is lifted off of me.
Mhm.
So as a man, I know how to be great, but I'm inconsistent. These snacks, man. I have these snacks. And when I say snacks, not just food, I mean habits. There's these habits that you feel like is great for you, but they're not. Whether it's loving someone, whether it's sex, whether it's your favorite ice cream and stuff like that. There's
I'm
them
going to ask.
habits.
I'm going to ask a big excuse. I got to make a run. I'm dealing with some contract issues and some community involvement. I'm a community activist, and our police jury have made a major mistake. They have they they signed a contract with another contractor with a contract already in force, and that's going to cost us some money and major money in a lawsuit because instead of letting this man contract run out, and next year they gave another contract to start on August 1st. Another contract is not out, and you can't have two separate contracts for the same thing going at the same time.
Isn't that like fraud in a sense?
Yes, sir. That's malfeasance in office also.
Oh, we got to
Oh,
take care of that.
Yeah, and so this is new electric police jury had went out there and gonna get the parish sued because this guy finna sue their pants off. There you go. So excuse me while I go and put
So
this
they're
thing
not.
go do this. But look, it's been fun. I love it. Queen, I'm gonna try to catch you tomorrow evening for the Queen's Corner. And I
okay.
want to invite my king there, brother Yarimia, to just check on with us on Sunday from 12:30 to 1:30 when we do the E5 metaphysical class on E5, and it's rolling our life.
Oh, yeah.
Peace. All right, peace.
Peace,
Gratitude,
King.
gratitude.
Adabo.
Odabo.
Adabo.
Really?
Yeah.
You throwing up the eye? Okay, I see you. I see you.
Look,
I see you.
and look, I got to slide out soon too, right?
Yeah, because I know your book thing's coming up. So it's almost 8 minutes. Close it
Right.
in eight. You can close it in 8 minutes. Yeah, you're so funny. Oh man, but in order to be great, in order to show your greatness as a man or a woman, you have to go within. You have to expand your internal clock, and you have to believe more within you, and you have to allow things to flow. Once you're aligned, you're aligned.
Mhm.
Like Abraham Hicks has this thing where if you can do it for 68 seconds and maintain that, and the longer you hold on to that frequency, the quicker it will manifest. So in order for you to be great, hold on to the frequency of balance, prosperity, expansion, abundance, healthy, health, truth, bliss, and so on and such forth. Just be great. Queen?
Well, one thing that I would say, I said it earlier, dealing with self is tough. But you have to face it. You know, your real self, your true identity, your realness, your greatness, it depends on that, so you have to tap in. And a lot of times it may cause you to unplug. You may have to unplug not just your phone. You may have to unplug from people. You may have to unplug from places and things that you do in order to have that moment to be in tune. That moment is real important. And the prime times to have that moment is, Lord Jesus, these little flies. But anyway, that the time is about 4 to 6. And it's a little early for a lot of people, but that moment is so sacred because the balance of the earth at that time is so purposeful. So when you're there and you're connecting at that time, now if you want to go back to sleep, go back to sleep. You could sit up and meditate for 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, but you have to connect with self in order to benefit, spiritually, emotionally, some cases financially, all of that plays a huge part, and you got to connect. And I don't care if you don't have to sit down and have this chant that you have to do and burn. I mean, if you want to burn incense, you can create your atmosphere. But if you just sit down in the middle of your floor and you just sit there, nothing's on, no lights are on, but you're just sitting there in stillness and in silence, and just listen to your inner self, listen to your inner voice. You could tell that when your mind wanders, bring it back. If it wanders again, bring it back. You might spend 20 minutes doing that back and forth, but that's okay. You stay for 20 minutes. So next time, you know what you have to do. Stay for 21 minutes, stay for 25, but sit there, and you have to deal with self. You might sit there and spend the whole 20 minutes crying. Okay, cool. That's cleansing. Stay the course. Come back the next day. Do it again. But it's okay. It is therapeutic. It is healing. It's cleansing. And sometimes we have to do it. Seems simple, but it's probably the easiest, hardest thing you ever done in your life. And that's to look at self.
And and that's the same thing as smiling, right? It's the most simplest thing that utilize so many different muscles within your face, but a lot of people find it hard to do. With that being stated, I'll say gratitude to Queen for helping me host, being a beautiful host as she naturally is. For those of you that would like to participate, please send a request at I'm sorry. We gonna fall with that name. The name was changed. It's still Jermaine, but it's spelled in a way before the actual J came into the alphabet. Okay, and I keep forgetting the enunciation. But for those of you that would like to participate, please feel free to send Peshay Gibson a friend request. Inquire. Go to Facebook at MEN-talRollaDeK. Go to IG at MEN-talRollaDeK. Twitter at MEN-talRollaDeK. On YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.
All right.
At MEN-talRollaDeK. Peace and love.
Peace and love. And I do want to apologize for I left my door open to get some natural air. So a fly came in and he's been traumatizing me since I've been here. So all of this, me and the fly been having a battle. But
we're not
he's not gonna be here for long. So
we're not editing anything anyway. We're not editing it either.
No. I know you're not, because you found that really funny, but it's cool though. It's cool. I'm with it. But peace and love, fam.
Love is love, world.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh man.